host, John Hartness. Joining me, as always, is our co-host, Melissa McArthur, Associate Publisher of Falstaff Books. Joining me, as always, to my chagrin this evening, is Melissa's emotional support pillow.
Wait a minute, there's two of them.
Yes.
There are two of them.
And I have one of them. She has loaned it to me because
Yes.
she is the epitome of kindness.
Thank you.
Also joining us is Faith Hunter and her lumbar emotional support pillow.
And her fact that she has no lipstick on. So that's a very difficult thing to deal with when you're my age.
Well, you know,
really
we
need
did have a
lipstick.
guest earlier this evening that took a solid 15 minutes of prep before we could start shooting. But it didn't make
Is that
David any
AJ
prettier.
Hartley?
No, it was,
I'm sorry, that was David.
it was
Coe.
David B. Coe, who somehow has suddenly developed an itch alongside his nose right now.
Yes, with certain fingers in certain positions.
Strangely
Do you want
enough.
to know how I respond to those when he gives those to me? I do it this way, which is read between the lines, right? So and
Yeah.
hopefully
I just tell him to
understands.
fuck off. It's my YouTube channel.
My mother won't let me say that.
Mine's dead. It's okay.
I know, but mine's still alive.
Mine will just, I don't know, knock over furniture in the middle of the night. Which really isn't all that different from when she was alive.
My father knocked pictures off the walls.
Ah,
Oh, and a casserole dish out of the oven onto the floor so that it would crash.
wow.
Yeah, he was pissed.
I was going to
Oh,
say.
was it like say that
tuna or
on this?
something?
I literally just said it's my fucking YouTube channel.
I
so
know, but am I allowed to say? You
You'll
know,
have to
you're
say whatever
grown
you
ass
want.
woman. You
okay,
can
so
say
my
whatever
dad
you
was
want.
pissed, so he knocked pictures off the walls and casseroles out of the oven.
Was it tuna?
No, it was my dad.
So I might have mentioned that after about the fourth one of these, we get a little punchy. After 9, we're just fucked.
See, the look of rage.
You may have to end it after this.
I feel like, oh God, what's that? I feel like Parker Posey at the end of, that really, at the end of Waiting for Guffman. And sane.
No, it was actually potatoes with cheese on it. What do you call that? Potato something.
Potatoes on rotten?
Yes, au gratin. That was one of my mother's dishes to take to a church social. And there was an event, and instead of the pictures popped off the wall and the casserole jumped out of the oven 4 feet away and landed on the floor. So shall we continue talking about my father? Do you want to talk about books?
Well, if we talk about books, what are the odds that you're going to break down into another uncontrollable laughing fit? Because that's
It depends
funnier.
upon whether you ask me if it was tuna or not. Oh, that was you. It depends upon whether
At
someone.
no point did I mention tuna until now.
That was totally me.
But I
totally
really
perfect.
want sushi now.
Oh my goodness. Wait.
It's too late for sushi, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's never
the
too late
sushi
for
place is
sushi.
empty. It's
closed.
Yeah.
It's okay, I live here.
But
There's more than one sushi place in
The
this city.
Italian place right around the corner is fabulous.
I had granola bars for dinner, so yeah.
I had French fries, so we're close.
I had part of a
You went
cookie.
and had Italian with capers that David didn't want,
And that's why I asked for the leftovers. So yeah.
that you could
So
wave
that
the
I
capers
could wave
at
them at
David.
David's nose and say, "Hey, David B. Coe, you want some Italian? I know you're hungry. This has capers," and he's shooting me the bird again.
Yeah. David B. Coe doesn't like capers. D.B. Jackson, however, thinks they're the bomb.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So
adore
all
it.
of you D.B. Jackson fans, send him fan mail slathered in capers.
Oh yeah.
Fuck you all.
He came to a con and stayed at my house one night before the con because it was such a long drive. And I pulled out this Costco-sized bottle of capers. And I said, "Do you want capers on your sandwich? Do you want capers on your salad? Do you want capers in your soup?" And the look on his face was this sort of horrified, "You're an evil woman" look. and I have pursued that ever since, and I shall continue to do so.
It's kind
I
of like,
approve this message.
so are capers for him kind of like putting cat food in the Jello mold?
Probably, yes.
Maybe.
And
What?
maybe even putting.
Why are you putting cat food in the Jello
I
mold?
don't. They do in that movie
Because
with the
cats will
Christmas
jump out.
lights.
When I was growing up, my friend, I guess I shouldn't say her name because she's still alive. My mother's friend invited us all over for this really fancy dinner, and she served this incredibly amazing Jello mold, and it was full of canned salmon.
That's not cat food.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
I'm telling you now, anything encased in a Jello mold is cat food.
Yeah, was it green Jello?
oh.
No, it was clear with a
Oh my
slight,
Oh.
with a slight pinkish tint, and when you tried to cut it, all of the salmon did this. That's horrible. That's horrible. And I love this woman to death and her children to death. But oh my God.
Sounded like she was trying to love you to death.
No, that was the way women cooked in the day. It was actually a recipe in a women's magazine.
There's a lot to
For
be said for
having-
being raised as far out in the country as I was raised. Because in that day, women did not cook like that.
No, when my mother came around and said, "You don't have to eat it." What do I do with it, Mama? Well, I don't know. Wrap
Feed it
it
to
up
the
in
dog.
a napkin and throw it in the garbage. But I'm hungry. But you don't have to eat it. Okay. And so it ended up in the garbage wrapped in my napkin.
What did you eat then?
There was dessert.
Oh, all right.
There we go.
And there came my ever growing love of sweets.
And
Not
slight distaste of jiggly salmon.
Oh God.
So, if you put capers on the jiggly salmon, could I just kill you and David both?
Yeah, that would work. That would work.
You know, I think gelatinous is probably a worse word than moist.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You are.
Vote in the comments.
Yes. So
Gelatinous or moist?
It's. I'm sorry. Gelatinous is worst.
Yeah, I think
Worst.
so.
Worst. It is the worst of the worst.
Yes, it is.
David, stop it. Oh, there's somebody off
Jean Marie
screen
Ward disagrees.
doing this to us. What's worse?
Lubricious.
What?
Lubricious.
Lubricious.
How many
Most people
addiction?
will
No,
know
that's
what
a
that is.
great word. Especially when you're standing there with your hands on your hips in that leather jacket like Rum Tum fucking Tugger.
You need to stand right in front of the camera and look at the camera and say,
No,
lubricious.
I want them now to just visualize. Look back a few episodes and visualize Jean Marie in cat's makeup, like from that fucked up movie version, and she's a lubricious Rum Tum Tugger.
Dear God, that's going to go on my tombstone.
I'm
At
so
this
glad
point,
this
I don't
has-
think anyone gives a shit about all the books we have to
That was
talk
about to
about.
say, I'm so glad this has nothing to do with books.
We're just babbling, so it has to do with the show.
Straight up, Mike Cole came on here and for 30 minutes just talked about how to kill people in ancient
no.
Rome.
No, I could do this modern day if you really want.
We'll do that as a different video.
Okay.
We'll do that as the Writing Life video. It'll be our sequel to
It's
the
not
one where
my
me and
writing
Dave.
life.
Yeah, but it will be when we get David talking about his recent publishing life, and then he'll bring you on to talk about killing people in the modern world.
Yeah, and not after, X number of glasses of wine.
Oh no! After X plus 3 number of glasses of
No,
wine.
because I'm not coherent after that.
That has not ever stopped anyone on YouTube. But since we
But
do
since we
occasionally talk
mentioned
about books,
yeah.
first,
okay.
why don't you tell the dozens and dozens of subscribers who you are and what you do? Now that you're a science fiction writer.
Yeah, that's the problem. Hi, y'all. I'm Faith Hunter and Gary Hunter and Gwen Hunter, and I have written everything from police procedurals to medical thrillers, to dark urban fantasy to post-apocalyptic fantasy, and what was your question?
Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, I think I did that under various different names.
You said those.
Yeah.
All right. So
Gary Hunter, Gwen Hunter, and Faith Hunter. They're all me. All three of us live inside this body. And
it's very cramped.
It's very cramped.
It's not a very big body.
No.
Which is why it requires so much wine to keep everyone in place.
One for each person.
And yeah, I've had
That's
three,
it.
So that's perfect.
Each of you have only had one
That's
glass of
why
wine.
it takes 3. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. You
know,
would be a
actually-
great psychologist.
Thanks. I have
Yeah.
a couch.
I came so close to arranging the set like that, but I was starting with Kadri, and I was like, nah.
Yeah, I don't want to do that with
He's
Kadri.
got way more tattoos than me,
You know my
and
favorite.
he's tall.
Yeah.
Your favorite
He's what?
My
Tall.
favorite
Is tall.
of your books actually is one that you wrote quite a while ago. Call of the Wild. Law of the Wild. Law of the Wild. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
wait
I
a
was
minute,
gonna
I'm
say,
pretty
I
sure
don't
she didn't write
recognize
Call
that.
of
Yeah.
the
It's
Wild.
been 40
I haven't
titles.
had any wine.
And I actually didn't
Bartender!
name that one.
Yeah.
It was Wild Ken.
Oh, I like that better.
Much better.
Ooh.
But my editor said, oh no, you can't call it that. People will think it's fantasy.
Editors, Jesus.
That's what I
Yes.
wanted. I wanted them to think it was fantasy.
Because
Wild
that's
Ken.
that whole
I like
that whole
that.
trilogy
Wild,
is so
yeah.
good.
Yeah, well, the characters have gifts that they can't deal with because they haven't been taught how to deal with them.
Yeah.
They've been bred to have gifts, and now what do they do with these abilities that they have?
Mm-hmm.
How do they deal in the real world with those?
Not well.
Not well, no, but shotguns are helpful.
That they are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, ain't
And
that the truth.
fire on the bayou.
Yeah.
When
I haven't
I
even
am
read the
asked the
books
best
and-
way to kill the bad guy, I talk about Law of the Wild because the character is clotheslined with an avulsion, shotgunned, dropped into a bayou full of alligators, which has gasoline on it, and then goes up in flames. He really deserved
Yes,
to die.
he did. He deserved every second of it, and
Every
then probably
second
some
he got.
more.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
probably more. Yes, I
It's a
totally
really
agree
good
with that.
book.
Were we working,
Yes, it was cathartic.
were we working through some shit?
Yeah.
All right.
That's just fun.
Long as
In
we
fact,
own
we
it.
discussed this at dinner.
We did
not
not.
you. But
I
the
was sitting
writers have
over there
joined me.
eating granola bars.
do you want the leftovers, which are absolutely
No, apparently they're
fabulous?
capers. So.
They're capers. That's the problem. Yeah, but if you want them, I'll leave them with you.
No,
It's
I'm
absolutely
good. I still
delicious.
have my wife's leftovers, which I also ate part of.
Oh, I'm sure that's wonderful.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Well, you were going to tell us about a book that you read a long time ago that you really like. Any book that you've ever read that you like.
In your whole life.
David started off by saying the Torah, but we called him on it.
Well, since we've mentioned David, I really love his Thief Taker series.
Oh yeah, those are.
Me too, but
good.
I'm not going to talk about that on this. I'm not going to talk about
No,
it because
I'm
he's
going
still
to.
here.
It is, yeah, he's, and for those
Oh, I
of
don't
you who
care.
don't
I'll
know,
talk about it.
He's
They're
off
good.
camera. He's sitting over there and he's shooting us the bird off and on because we're saying things that he's not completely happy with. But I'm
Like
going to make
capers.
it all like capers. I'm going to make it all up for him right now.
Ooh.
His world building, his character building in that series was such a step above anything else in the market that I have a really hard time understanding why people didn't just glom onto it.
And the characters.
They were fabulous.
They're so
and
complex.
they developed. They were so complex,
Yes.
and they developed so well. And the
Mhm.
magic system was
Fabulous.
stupendous.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that it required cutting
Yeah. Or grass. Or
grass
something
or something
living.
with life in it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I still haven't forgiven you for the dog.
No, I have
No, he's
forgiven him for the dog, and here's why.
I did.
I saw an early version
I was
of
like,
the
okay, I get
manuscript,
it.
Yeah.
and I said, "This is a problem. you have to make him regret this for the rest of his life. He said, I can do that. Okay, then
I mean,
you have
I
no
totally-
right to kill the dog.
I totally get
David's
it.
response, I'm Jewish. I'm good with regretting things for the rest of my life.
I totally get it from a story construction standpoint,
Yes,
but as a reader, man, that just
was
tore my heart
so
out and
hard.
stomped on it a few times.
You're still mad at me for killing characters in my books.
I'm
You're,
mad at you about the eyelids.
you know, you're just squicked out about the eyelids.
That was awful. He ripped off
Okay,
somebody's
wait a minute.
eyelids and text.
I will admit, I've
nailed 'em
had
to the wall.
family issues and I have not read many books in the last 2 years. What the hell about eyelids?
Well, so Lucifer peeled an archangel's eyelids off and stapled them to a wall.
Ooh. Yeah.
But so he could
Okay,
see
I can
all
see
the
that.
things.
Thank you.
I can see
Thank
that.
you.
If I'm
So
going
He's
funny!
the
He didn't
devil.
have any eyelids, so
Yeah.
he can see it too.
Yeah. Don't worry, we killed that archangel later.
No, I can totally get that.
We got a new one though. We replaced him.
But can you really kill archangels?
Yes.
This one did.
Oh, okay.
The way my magic system was set up in specific places with specific weapons, yes.
But it's
Okay,
kind of
so
like
here's the thing, y'all. The magic system changes your world. So no matter what you start out believing before you open the first page,
Or write the first page.
or write the first page, by the time you get to the end of the book, everything is different. And the world that you have created is intensely different.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about being a writer, is you get to recreate the world. You get to be, sorry mama, I'm sorry preachers who raised me, you get to be God of your own world.
I'll absolve you. I'm ordained. It's fine.
Thank you, go ahead, I need this. Yeah, no,
You're good.
it's down here, it's this way and it's that
Not
way.
his
No,
church.
it's not.
Oh, do it again, then I've got to learn it.
Well, I'm just making this shit up as I go along.
And I'm not Catholic, so, it doesn't work.
I wasn't ordained Catholic, so it's fine. But, to loop it back around, that is one of the things that I really thought David did well in the Thief Taker books, is
Yes.
not only was his magic system solid, he took a world that we thought we knew,
Yeah.
which is pre-Revolutionary War America, or pre-Revolutionary War Boston, and he spun it in a way that made it recognizable and yet unrecognizable, and grounding it in that sense of reality gave him different places to go
Yeah.
as he's
And what David doesn't know, and I haven't told him yet, I don't think, is
But you're
that
about to.
I'm about to, because he's off camera. I have an ancestor who was a free black man in pre-Revolutionary War Boston, who signed on to a ship to fight the British in the Revolutionary War.
huh,
He was a drummer. He is listed in the American Black, I think it says Negro, because it was an old book, musicians, because he was a drummer aboard a Revolutionary War ship. And I have a direct line back to him.
my closest thing is that I have relatives who have drank a lot of Sam Adams beer.
Oh, well, that's really good. But
which
what
is-
I want to do
which is easier to get to.
is when I get a chance, when David and I can contractually write this next book, it's going to have my ancestor, and I'm looking off camera at David. You really ought to invite him on, because he's really a part of this. But-
Unfortunately, I'm fat and the angle only goes so far. Like if I lean this way, I
when
go out
I
of the
can
shot.
when I can write this in,
I mean, you can come sit on
sit
the
in right here.
floor.
He can
We
sit
got
on
a
your lap.
pillow.
He cannot come sit on my lap. He is very small, and I'm betting he has a bony ass.
It's all that time on
You're
the
gonna die
combo bike.
wondering.
No, I'm
And
gonna
I
die
have-
still not caring.
and I have found the record where he was given 80 acres of land outside of Boston for his service in the Revolutionary War. This is a
Nice.
free black man, okay? And I have a whole line of my family coming down from him. And I am just, when I discovered that, I just sat there and just tears ran down my face. because this is my heritage.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was fabulous.
Well, history's wild.
Yeah.
I mean,
When you track your ancestry back now, there's probably somebody under the covers somewhere, because my family didn't seem to have a problem with, acting outside of the marriage bed. But it's possible that there could have been other things, but I can certainly see this in my family. This amazing line, this amazing generation, 3 generations, all named the same name, not junior, just the exact same name. 3 different birth dates, 3 different death dates, and the first one, Revolutionary War,
neat.
on a ship. Yeah.
So, much to our chagrin.
Yeah, we're out of time. Bye, y'all!
Oh, no, sweetie.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I was
Never
going to
mind.
say,
Sorry.
much to our chagrin, the Thief Taker series is done. But you can go out and buy those books right now.
Did I hear a mm-mm?
Yeah.
But
You didn't share this?
No, he didn't.
Okay, so y'all, in an upcoming, what is this called? It's a
Book
vlog.
Babble.
this is just a YouTube show.
Okay, so
It's
in an
upcoming
upcoming
episode.
YouTube show, David is going to have to share secrets with you.
Which will have nothing to do with whether or not he has a bony ass.
That's not a secret, right?
I don't know.
I don't either.
And I'm
I'm
good.
not asking him to sit on anybody's lap to prove it one way or another.
Now you understand why I was trying to smother him with a pillow earlier.
And
Do you
this-
want the pillow?
So what's something you've read more recently that you really liked? We talked about
More
this.
recently than David's work.
Yeah.
More recent. Oh.
We talked about this off camera, and we were talking about the fact that it sometimes seems like we're only promoting our friends' work. But the fact is, look at who our friends are.
We had the best.
I
They're
have the
really
best
good
friends in the
writers.
world. I really
So,
Misty Massey has written the second Kestrel novel.
awesome.
I'm so excited.
And that'll be coming out from Lore
Fabulous.
Seekers Press
From Lore
later
Seekers
in
Press.
2020.
Yes, and the benefit of Lore Seekers is that there's no deadlines. She can write at her convenience and at her comfort level and send it in. And it was spectacular.
Good.
And I'm looking for a number 3 in that at some point, but I haven't told her that. So she is also sitting off camera, so she's just
She's
now being informed that there has to be a book
She's also
3.
under contract for 4 novellas to another press.
Yes, I know. I
So-
know about that, and I
We
do,
have one.
I do.
We have one.
I wrote today.
She did. She was
This morning
telling me.
I wrote today while I was working.
I'm impressed.
She wrote 7 novellas today.
That's it.
Good, that'll cover the ones that she owes me, and it'll pick up some slack from other writers.
Can it be my slack?
No.
Well, here's the thing. We writers have lives that sometimes step on our aspirations for word count.
Oh, yeah.
I need to produce 1,500 to 2,000 words a day just to make deadline.
Mhm.
And in the last 3 months, I've had some health issues. I've had some elder care issues. I've had some family issues. And I might have gotten a couple of weeks there, I got 1,000 words a week.
I was on a panel today where I was interviewing Deb Dixon, the publisher of Bellbridge Books, who I am currently 2 months late on delivering a
And what
manuscript
was your
to.
excuse? Did you say life got in the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm.
Actually, I said I'm way less late on this one than I was when I turned in the last one, which was a year and a half late.
Well, I have a letter written in my draft file on my email, and it will go out Monday to my editor saying, you're not going to be getting book 14 of the Janiella Rock series at the end of March. You will be getting it at the end of May, assuming that everything in my life settles out
Yeah.
and goes beautifully.
Well,
And,
because
and
life
I
happens.
can't do any better than that. Not
No.
with my health, not with my family. I cannot do it
Yeah.
and still be sane and still be healthy.
Yeah.
And I have completely come to terms with that. I've accepted that. And this is the benefit of working in today's market. There was a time when if you missed a deadline, you didn't get published. they could cancel your contract and make you pay them back your advance. And that was really hard on a lot of writers way back when. Because I've been writing since, what was it, 1487?
No, that's when AJ started.
Oh, no, that's when I started. That's
That's
what the
when
whole
Ben
joke
started.
was about. That was when I started
Ah,
writing.
okay.
Yeah.
AJ said he took lessons straight from Chaucer.
Well, that is true. He was giving me a hard time for nothing. We'll have to address
he's
that.
British, that's what he does.
That's what he
I
does.
think though with the increase in social media too, fans have a little bit closer connection with writers now
And
than
they
they used to.
understand why.
They understand, and
Yeah,
I
that we
really
have lives.
believe that the readers would rather get a well written book
Good
they
quality
waited for
book.
a little longer.
Yeah.
That
And I'm not going to be that late. It's going to be 3 months late.
Right.
And
It's-
they'll have a well-written book, a well-edited book, and it'll come out in 2021.
when I was late on Black Knight 7, I was 2 years late. Yeah, 2 years late. And I recorded a video and said, here's what happened. I wrote the first 70,000 of those 75,000 words. They were all bad. I threw them all away.
And I started over.
And I started
I've
over.
done I haven't actually thrown them all out. I've gone through and copied and pasted the important and useful parts into another file and then removed the rest. I've never had to remove quite that many. I have had to remove about 40,000 words.
Yeah, there were
In
not enough
a book.
useful words in that particular draft to save. There are plot pieces from that book that are now in Black Knight 8.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
Our lives cleave us to the bone.
Yeah.
And that changes what we write, how we write, how we deal with other writers, how we deal with conferences, how we deal with fans, and at some point we bring all of those life experiences together and we're able to use them in our writing. Now they may be on the outside of the central plot or the central character, but they're there and they're molding it. So I absolutely get that.
I've got people who are asking me for the second book in the Amazing Grace series.
Are you going to do a sequel?
I intend to do more with that character. I can't yet.
Yeah, I get that.
I wrote that book. It took me 3 years after my mother died to write that book. Well, my dad died last year. So
Yeah.
it may be another year or more before I can mine that world, because those people in those books, that environment is the world I grew up in. That touches a lot of deep, real stuff for me, and I can't access it in a healthy fashion right now.
The Deland saga, when I was writing as Gwen, the Deland saga was very life-oriented for me. And when I reached the end of the third book, I realized I can't do any more of this. That was 95, I think, when I finished writing that trilogy, and I have never been able to do any more. I reached the end of what I was able to put on paper that I was willing to share with the world.
Right.
My agent wants me to write a real life version of those, and I have just told her that will never happen.
Yeah. I have family members who want me to, you should write a book about us. I was like,
Yeah.
I have.
You just don't know it yet.
You haven't figured it out yet, and we're not getting any
Yeah.
closer to real than that.
Yeah. I had a family member after the second book in the Deland saga came out, and he said, he's family by marriage, he said, so I have a question. He said, how do you survive with all these bad things happening to you? And I said, you do know that this is a fictional world, right? He said, oh, no, these things happened. So how do you deal with this? How do you survive with it? And why did you write about them? And I realized that he thought every single thing I had written, other than the concept, was reality.
Because this was before you were writing fantasy.
Yeah. Now people know that it's fantasy, it's fake, it's
Wait, Bruiser's not real?
Spoiler.
He is if you want him to be, darling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally Team Bruiser.
Spoilers.
Fantasy makes it a lot easier to write about your life, write about history, write about
Well, I think I came to one of your
anything.
I came to one of your book signings the day I finished reading the first Nell book.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the first thing I said was, I think that's my favorite thing you've written. And boy, you working through some shit with that one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we've all had these conversations many times. Ask Gail Martin why every father figure in every book she's ever written meets a bad end.
Yeah.
And
I
it was
mean-
about 6 books in when her husband said, "You realize you kill every father."
My husband says in the first book, the husband died after about right at the end. In the second book, the husband died about 3/4 of the way. In the third book, the husband dies halfway through. He says, now you're writing under different names and the husband's already dead. What are you trying to tell me?
Take out the garbage.
And I said, it's not you, baby. It's not you. It's just living life.
Yeah.
And it comes out in books and it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's me growing up.
And it's how we cope with the things that we couldn't cope with.
When we were children,
Yeah.
and we didn't have those coping skills.
Right.
And so what we have is this rich history of trauma so that we can write these things that take us into a new direction.
And it's
And,
cheaper.
it's healing for us.
And it's cheaper than therapy.
Yes.
We got a couch.
And it's
and
way
my
less
couch
likely
is-
to get me arrested.
Yeah, and
than
my couch is
beating
right
on
there
things.
close to my computer.
Yeah.
Well, Faith,
And yes, I have a couch in my writing room just for that reason.
I don't. I have
You have a
bunch of-
cat.
Well, depends.
You have depends in your writing room?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a
Sometimes-
marathon session.
Yeah.
Been there,
Yeah.
had to run up the stairs to the bathroom for that, yeah.
Oh, no, the office is right next to the can. Well, Faith, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to sit down with us here at
Thank you for
Saga
having me.
2020. It's always a pleasure. And especially if we get to take, I don't know, half our time and annoy David.
And when is the next Bubba book?
Oh, it should be out long before this releases.
Okay, so
Because
that's
it's
another book, another series that I can recommend.
because it's currently scheduled for March 25th, and by the way, I'm going to be late for that too.
Yeah.
But it'll be
no one-
early April,
No one is surprised because life. Okay, you know.
and no
I'm
one
gonna
gets to
back
yell
away
at
from
me
here.
because I own the company.
I'm going to back away from here.
Still gonna
because
yell at you.
If coronavirus locks us all in our houses, I expect it for you on time.
That's fair.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought
if
so.
I'm not allowed, if
Yeah.
I'm quarantined in my house, then I'll get the book turned out
That-
on
and
time.
that's
Fine.
yeah,
And I suppose
that's
I'll
what-
get it, edited too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's what
as
I'm
long
gonna
as I
tell my
can leave the
editor.
house.
I'm going to go do other things and push other things,
Mhm.
but I will tell my editor she'll get her book not only 3 months late, not, more than that.
I didn't make Deb those promises.
One must be cautious what one promises to one's editors.
Especially when you're within arm's reach.
Yes. Well,
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am.